And welcome back to Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here once again, joined by Snail across the country. And the Penguins just completed a game on or in Newark against the New Jersey Devils. And unlike the two games earlier this week, we do not have much to celebrate coming out of this hockey game. The Penguins 3-0 losers to, admittedly, a very, very good Devils team. No doubt about that. No one's questioning that. But the Penguins, they only mustered 12 shots on Jacob Markstrom in this game. Once the Devils finally went ahead late in the second period, that kind of felt like the nail in the coffin, even as just a 1-goal deficit. But Snail, you've mentioned before we hit record here, a very annoying game to watch. The Devils have a tendency to be an annoying team to play against, and that was certainly the case this evening.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the Penguins, as we know, have been on a roll, and coming into this game, just because of the history with the Devils that the Penguins have had over the last couple years, wasn't super confident in it. The Devils have seemed to kind of have their number, especially a couple years ago when the Penguins were in that. Before Dubas had really made quite a bit of turnover, the Penguins were this like a little bit older. By one point, the oldest team in the league, a little slower, actually a lot slower. And the Devils are a very spunky, quick, fast team that can really can really pile up shots on you and compound offense from both their top six and the back end. So I didn't think that they would only get 12 shots off in this game. That I figured it might be the opposite, that the Penguins might be, having 20 plus shots and then the Devils still find a way to win off 12 shots, but not the case. Frustrating. Yeah, that they got that first line of Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes. Those guys are just quick and spunky and creative, and they're going north, south, east, west, making all these turns, much like those drones that are flying over New Jersey, just doing things that they don't it's they're highly skilled players with high IQ. So frustrating game. The Penguins just couldn't get anything really going. They couldn't get any momentum. The Penguins had a couple of chances though, Robbie. Like you saw, like Sid hit nicks hit the glove of Markstrom and then hits the crossbar or the pipe, and then I don't know. I thought there was a couple opportunities for them to maybe try to squeeze one by, but another X factor for this New Jersey team, which has taken that team to a new level, is that Markstrom deal where they acquired Markstrom, the 6'6" goaltender who's been solid everywhere he's played. So, just a good team, a better team than the Penguins, I think, and it shows in the standings, and it clearly showed tonight. But it's the Penguins get blanked, and it's a bummer. But we got one more game before Christmas. You hope that the Penguins can rally over this. Hopefully, there's not too many people nicked up. A couple people went down the tunnel at different times, which we can get to in a moment. We'll move on to the next one. But the scoring summary is pretty depressing. Robbie, why don't you go over that?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was scoreless almost through two periods. But then at the end of the second period, Stefan Noesen gets his 15th of the year. That is a new career high for him. This is where Nico Hischier gets an assist and Timo Meier, and this is a big night from Hischier. He had 3-point night. He gets the second goal about just short of 8 minutes through his third period. It's his 17th of the year, and that was kind of the bow on this one. They do get an empty netter from Timo Meier to wrap it up in the dying minutes, and that is his 12th of the year. But Hischier gets 3 points tonight. Meier has two. Jesper Bratt got his 29th assist of the season. Dougie Hamilton got on the score sheet. So, yeah, no Jack Hughes on the score sheet tonight for the Devils, but some other big names coming up for that, or stepping up tonight to carry them over the Penguins. Jacob Markstrom was the starter in goal. He stopped 12 of 12. Again, not exactly a tough night for him, but he does get the shutout. Penguins just generated really nothing outside of that Crosby chance. There's really nothing that they did that was threatening at all to push the Devils or push their defense. They had 3 power play opportunities, came up fully. No, sorry, 2 power play opportunities, came up both empty on both of those. Mustered 2 shots on their 2 power plays. Just overall, not a great, um, not a great effort tonight. But silver lining, Penguins still take 4 out of a possible 6 this week. Win 2 of the games they probably should have won, or at least one of the Nashville game, which was the only team that technically was below them in the standings, but they still get that win against the Kings, and now they have a chance to still send it into Christmas on a high note with a game Monday against the Flyers, which is the first meeting between the cross-state rivals this season. The Flyers, as of right now, they beat the Columbus Blue Jackets in overtime. So the Flyers are coming off a win. The Penguins will be coming off a loss. They will meet at PPG Paints Arena on Monday night, the final game before the break. But the roster freeze goes into effect. The roster freeze is already in effect, and the Penguins' one move before that was the addition of Pierre-Olivier Joseph, who was in the lineup tonight, made his Penguins return uh, uh, against the Devils. Nothing much to write home about. Played almost 19 minutes, though, so he was out there a fair bit. They weren't sheltering him in any sort of fashion tonight, but the Penguins, not a good effort tonight. The first period, not too bad, but after that, it felt like it was just all Devils all the time for the final 40 minutes. And hey, I'm going to just hold on to the taking 4 points out of 6 and calling this week another win as the Penguins try to bounce back here.
Yeah, they weren't going to go undefeated the rest of the season. We knew that. And the only thing that I take away from this game, which it was mentioned at the very end of the broadcast there, that the Penguins are like 1-6-1 against Metro teams this year. And there's quite a logjam in the standings right now where the Penguins are the logjam that the Penguins are a part of. They're going to need to beat these Metro teams. Like these Metro teams, they can play as good as they want against Atlantic, Central, Pacific, but they need to. I don't know what goes into that if you're struggling against Metro teams, other than finding what it is that makes them better and just trying to literally focus on that and counter that. I don't know what they need to do, but those Metro games are going to mean a lot. Every game they play against the Metro is going to mean a little bit more the longer the season goes on, and they got to find a way to beat these teams, man. Like, I mean, the personnel, the turnover that Dubas has like been a part or factored into this team, like it's been great. I think that the Penguins have really responded to that, but I don't know what it is that they need to be able to, surmount some of these. They don't have the games in hand like last year and the year before when the season wore on that they could kind of rely on and hope to utilize as the season went on and not being in a playoff spot. They don't have that this year. I don't know, Robbie. That's my big concern. That's a huge differential in wins and losses against Metro teams. It's very concerning. So, where are you at with the Metro and how good it is and how the Penguins are playing a lot better, but they're struggling against their own division.
Yeah, it's been kind of a theme over the past several seasons, not just this one. They're going to have to figure out something, though, because it is such outside of those top 3 teams, it is basically a quagmire of mediocrity from the Penguins on down right now. You have the Penguins at 35 points, all the way down to Columbus at 31. So just 4 points separating 5 teams. At some point, the dam is going to have to give in this situation, but the Penguins, you got to start winning games against your division, and they have not been good this year. They were not good in past years, and starting tonight was the first of 4 straight against your division. The next 2 coming against opponents that you're closer with in the standings. They're not catching the Devils. That's not going to happen. But you have the Flyers, and then a home and home set against the Islanders. So yeah, you have potential to kind of give yourself a bit of cushion in these upcoming games here before and right after Christmas. But it's up to the Penguins to make that happen. They have to know what's ahead of them. They've played pretty well against teams that are at their level or below. So I'd say that all these teams fit that billing as well. But they got to go out there and still win the hockey games. They did a good job this week of battling in games where they didn't play their best, but still found a way to get points. So if they bring their best against the Flyers and Islanders coming up, though, I think the Penguins are going to be in a decent position uh, to take some points out of these upcoming division games here, and they absolutely need it because um, you just got to separate yourself from these other teams you're competing with, and keep yourself in that conversation. And these games are absolutely massive, and it's going to start on Monday night. Technically started tonight, but yeah,
Right.
I'd wipe this one away and start fresh out of the gates on Monday against the Flyers.
And with that game against the Flyers, do we see Owen Pickering, who left the game with an injury, and I thought he was playing so well. I think that they were highlighting some of his defensive plays, and we've been watching Owen Pickering since he got called up and highly anticipated, not really for putting pucks in the net, but for stopping them, and he's been doing that extremely well. He plays with good pace. He's got a youthful energy to him, and he's that big frame. He's only going to get bigger. I'm really looking forward to what he provides for the Penguins going forward, as do many Penguins fans. But yeah, they haven't updated. Obviously, it's the game just ended at this point, 20 minutes ago. But did you see the injury? Did you see him go down?
I did not.
Because I didn't either. They said there was a hit behind the play, and Owen Pickering gingerly went to the bench and down the tunnel. They never replayed the hit that I saw on my broadcast, at least. There was no highlight of it on Instagram or Twitter, so I was just curious if you saw what it was that hurt, that he got, what it looked like maybe he hurt.
I did not see it. Again, sometimes these injuries are very subtle, and they don't look anything like they don't look bad at all at first, and then next thing you know, the guy's heading down the tunnel, and it's the last we see of him the rest of that game. So fingers crossed it's not serious, because he was supposed to be the guy that fills in for Pedersen, and losing both of them guys really, really puts your defense in a bind. Hopefully it's nothing serious. He's been so important to this team, and his importance was even amplified when Marcus Pedersen went down. So yeah, fingers crossed he is back as early as Monday. It's nothing serious, but yeah, no guarantees with that. They just gotta hope that he's okay, and yeah, roll with what you got. Unfortunately, if he is out, they're even more hamstrung than they were before, but next man up is how you win games in this league. So it'll be next man up again. And remember, if you're looking at the depth chart, Jack St. Ivany is not available either, as he is out long term
That's
in
right.
the AHL. So it could very well be a very perilous situation with the defense is already suspect at times, and you remove two of your best defenders, your your actual defenders,
The actual defenders by
the
definition.
actual guys that play defense first, it could definitely get dicey. Luckily, um, you're not facing a what I would call an upper tier team these next few games, but you already can struggle to keep the puck out of your net. It doesn't get any easier, especially in rivalry games and division games that you need. So yeah, hoping, fingers crossed, that we see Owen Pickering back much sooner rather than later.
Yeah, hopefully. He's been a huge bright spot, and I think a key piece of the Penguins' turnaround. Robbie, I feel like you agree too. We've kind of touched on him, and I thought Pierre-Olivier Joseph looked really good, almost like he didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a solid player.
He is.
Again, not a guy that I necessarily want out there taking up 20, 22 minutes a night, but tonight he was kind of forced into that role. But I'll go back to the summer. I was surprised they didn't qualify him, just because unless they were just looking for something different on the blue line, I was really surprised they didn't qualify him and bring him back. But he's back now, and yeah, tonight he was zeros across the board, which for a guy like him, that's perfectly fine. No plus minus, nothing terrible out there to write home about. But the Penguins definitely are going to be happy they have him. Again, a guy that knows the system at the very least.
Yeah.
And we know he's all around. He's a solid player. Maybe not what we thought he was when he was traded for. in the Phil Kessel trade. But I mean, as a form, he's basically a lottery ticket pick. Like he was just,
Yeah.
and he's been for where he was picked. I think he's been a pretty successful NHL player. So yeah, it's gonna be nice to have him back, especially if the injury situation gets worse than it already is.
Agreed. I think the Penguins at one point tonight, because Grzelcyk went down the hall for a little bit, they were down to 4 D-men, which is
Not good against anybody.
not good against anyone, but especially a team like the Devils. Yeah, it'll be interesting how they fill those holes going forward. The depth tonight, we see Drew O'Connor, because he was scratched last game, wasn't he?
I believe so.
I thought he was scratched last game. If I'm wrong, then my bad. Then he was just super unnoticeable and invisible. But he draws back in tonight against the New Jersey Devils in his hometown. They kind of highlighted that tonight on the broadcast. Super cool for that guy to go back and Drew's had a bit of a tougher go at it this season than lately in the season, and he got off to a pretty good start, but. The depth is still no Puljujarvi. Nieto is still in the lineup every night. Not that I have a huge issue with Nieto, but I thought tonight I was thinking of Puljujarvi, his speed, his size, the way he can disrupt plays, that secondary scoring. I just thought that tonight was a night he gets back into the lineup. And
yeah.
Where is there anything out there that you've seen on what it is about Puljujarvi that's keeping him out of the lineup?
I honestly am just as confused as about everybody else.
Has he had like bad games? Like, have you seen like a dreadful game from him?
Dreadful? No, I've seen mostly positive things when he's been in the lineup. I don't know if he's played enough games to have a truly dreadful game. Like, he's not a goalie where all the focus is on him. I don't know. I don't know what it would take for him to get into a game. I guess at this point it's just kind of wait and see. But yeah, I'm just as baffled as you are, kind of. I really don't have an answer for the Jesse Puljujarvi situation because, like, when he was brought in last year and signed a 2-year deal, I think everybody thought that, like, okay, they're planning on him playing his way into this lineup as a regular player. I understand at the beginning when he came back last year, giving him some off time because he had a very significant injury to recover from, but like. He was back playing hockey in February of last year, maybe even earlier if you count his stint with in the AHL on the PTO, and then he comes in and okay, you get all summer to continue that rehab. Maybe he didn't have a great end of year last year. Again, didn't really get a chance he was kind of thrown right back into the fire. But you have all offseason, and when he's been in the lineup this year, he's been an effective player. So I don't know. Nobody seems to want to ask the question. I don't have the power to ask the question, unfortunately. But I'd like to know, like, what is if you want to try something different, why not just put him out there for a game or two and see what happens? Because to me, he hasn't done anything to deserve this long of a stay in the press box.
No, and I think he's like more impactful than like Anthony Beauvillier as of right now. He's kind of my whipping boy.
After what Beauvillier did the other night, taking that dumb penalty, I would have stapled him to the bench the rest of that evening, and then he wouldn't have played tonight. That's what I would have done.
I agree.
He would have been out for tonight. Puljujarvi put in, and that would have been the end of that. That's just me, though.
I agree with you. I feel like I would have found a spot for him. Beauvillier hasn't scored in a number of games. He hasn't really contributed a point, I think, in a while. At least I think they were. I think like in the intermission, like one of the I forget her name. She was interviewing Anthony Beauvillier and was just like pretty much asked like, what do you got to do if you're not scoring because you're not scoring right now? Essentially, to sum it up, and he gave a very hockey guy answer, and back to the locker room. But yeah, the Puljujarvi thing stumps me. I would like to see him in the lineup before we go into the little bit of the Christmas. Like
he said, Beauvillier has had 2 points in his last 10 games. Both were goals, and they were in games where the Penguins scored a lot of goals. You had the 6-2 win over Calgary.
It was one the Montreal game.
Yeah, one was the Montreal game. Yeah, he had a goal in that game. So he's had 2 points in his last 10, And then if you go even farther back, he hasn't had an assist since November 16th. He hasn't had a multi-point game since November 11th. Yeah, he's had 3 points since November 16th. 2 points in the last month, and they're both goals. So, yeah, Beauvillier is not doing it for me. And after the other night, I would have simply swapped out him and Puljujarvi tonight. But, yeah, I don't make those decisions, I guess. And, yeah, I'd like an explanation, but I guess I'm not going to get it. And let me see here. Puljujarvi's played 21 games this year. He has 3 goals and 5 assists. Beauvillier has played 34 games and has 8 goals and 3 assists. So Puljujarvi, even on a points per game average, is producing more than Beauvillier. He hasn't played since Saturday, that Leafs game. They played
7th.
on 7 in 2 weeks. He hasn't played a game in 2 weeks. Yep.
And then before that, it was the 23rd of November.
Yep.
22nd, 19th, and then 16th.
Yeah, he did have a run of games, and he scored 2 goals. Yeah, I think he played 4 games in a row at one point, and maybe even more than that. Even he did have 2 goals. He had 3 points in November, which is more than what a guy like Beauvillier can say. So, yeah, I think that Puljujarvi they need to get him back in the lineup just to get him some action. And seems like a good time would be this final week here of December.
Yeah. I like what the guy brings. Like I like Puljujarvi. That's why I'm asking. And the other question I had for you, Robbie, not to put you too much on the spot, but has there been an update on Kevin Hayes?
I have not heard one, and now that you say it, I kind of forgot he even played for the Penguins.
Really?
Sarcastically. Yeah, he got injured. Oh boy, that's been a couple weeks ago now too. Let's see if I can pull up his sheet here somewhere.
Week to week, so that was back on November 11th already. Jeez, wow. That was like over a month ago.
Yeah, we're getting on.
It's almost been a month. It's been a month.
Almost 6 weeks at this point. About 5.5 weeks since we've seen Kevin Hayes on the ice. So that actually went faster than I thought it did. I thought he was out. I thought he was out closer to Thanksgiving then.
There's no updates on it. Everything on in Newswise was a month ago, just IR with upper body.
Oh no, he played on his last game was December 10th.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said that, I'm like, that seems like too long ago. Are you sure you didn't say that? You said it was like November 11th or November 12th. Are you sure you didn't read the date backwards and it was actually December 11th?
No, the thing I'm reading, Penguins forward Kevin Hayes week to week with upper body injury. This was posted by ESPN on November 11th, 2024.
Yeah, but he played in that Colorado game, which was about a week and a half ago now. So he has been back. But yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Just left right back to injury?
I guess, yeah, that's kind of what it looks like.
Or has he been just scratched?
No, he's hurt. They're not going to scratch him. He played... Let's see. He did miss a chunk of games. He's only played in 22 games. He did miss a chunk of games in November. Maybe that he was placed on IR retroactively, I think. Missed a chunk of games. Came back against Utah. Played a few games, and then he has not played since the Colorado game. But he's not scratched. I believe he is either on IR or day to day or week to week or something like that.
I liked that power play look the Penguins had that had Kevin Hayes on the unit, kind of net front, like right around the net. He's a huge body, he's he's a fourth liner, but I've said it for a long time. He's not like a fourth liner to me. He's not many years removed from being like a first line or a second line center, first unit power play guy. And the Penguins power play was kind of coming alive when it was more of a blue collar power play with like, I think it had like Rust, Kevin Hayes, and then of course Sid, and then it was like Grizzlick at the top or something like that. And I thought that I've been missing that guy too. So the Penguins, they don't get a long Christmas break, do they? It's just a couple of
For
days.
4 days. Yeah, they're
4 days. So
from the
hopefully this
24th.
team, we'll see what roster they throw out there against the Flyers, but hopefully they can rest up, and all those nicks and bumps so that this roster's got can kind of get some much needed rest, and they can get back to because the season's ticking away. It's going to be January pretty soon, and yeah, the Penguins are in a decent spot compared to where we started the season off at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, if you would have told me even at Thanksgiving that this is the position the Penguins would be in at uh, Christmas, I would absolutely take that. I mean, at Thanksgiving, they played the uh, Vancouver Canucks on Thanksgiving Eve. They were coming off a 3-game losing streak, and had won one game in their last last seven at that point. The November was just a bad month, and they caught fire after that game against Vancouver. Rolled off four in a row. Some hiccups here and there, but yeah, still playing good hockey, still getting results. December. This is only their second outright loss. Third outright loss in December. So yeah, the results are still there. The process is still there. New Jersey's just, I mean, flat out a better team than they are.
Yeah.
No shame in that. New Jersey's a very good hockey team, playing much better than last year. Now that they're under the stewardship of Sheldon Keefe, so yeah, a better team than the Penguins, and the results showed it tonight. But the Penguins have a chance to bounce back and get a much-needed win against the rival Flyers on Monday night. So yeah, just hope that the health pulls through and they can get theirs loaded up as possible when that game comes. But hey, either way, you got to try to get 2 points out of that game.
100%. 2 points is mandatory. If you got to go to overtime, so be it. But
Yeah.
who do you think gets the net that game?
Man. I'm gonna say it's Jari with the
You think
long
Jari again?
with the yeah, because you're gonna get next weekend. You have back to backs with the Islanders on Saturday and Sunday. I think he goes with Jari Monday, and then I would not be shocked if we see Nedeljkovic on Saturday and then Jari on Sunday.
Yeah, fair. I guess if a back to back's coming up, you'll see one of them no matter
Yeah,
what.
I
So
think right now Jari is. I mean, again, calling Jari a number one might feel like a bit of a stretch, but I think right now
sure.
he is the number one goaltender. He's playing. If you're comparing the two, he's played uh, the better hockey. So yeah, I roll with him until um, proven otherwise.
Yeah, I think I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Jari is kind of our number one right now, and he's regained he's regained full Jari
Yeah,
form,
yeah.
which can be great some nights, and some goals you're just like Jesus Christ. But yeah, so looking forward to that game, Robbie. I don't really got too much left on this one, but yeah, Christmas is coming,
yeah,
and maybe we'll do a little breakdown after Monday's game. Do a little Christmas, little setup. What Christmas is going to look like.
yeah. We will do that absolutely. We kind of did it with Thanksgiving.
Yep.
That'll send us off into our own little mini holiday break.
Right.
Nice as well. So we'll talk that game. Hopefully, it's a jovial conversation like it has been the past couple nights. We'll have something nice to talk about, and then we'll talk Christmas, New Year's, and all that fun stuff as we kind of take a little hiatus along with the Penguins and enjoy time with family and friends. But Snell, you have nothing else?
Nope.
All right.
Yeah.
Snell is signing off on his own. The Penguins lose 3-0 to the New Jersey Devils here on Saturday night, the 21st of December. They are back in action on Monday, the 23rd, against the Philadelphia Flyers, which means that Snail and I will be back in action following that game to break it all down, talk some Christmas, and bring you guys all the goods. So tune in on Tuesday. You can start celebrating your Christmas Eve with us here at the Skating Penguin Network. But until then, for Snail, I'm Robbie. We will talk to you guys on Tuesday.